Our dresses cost far too much. This is not your place." Those words cut like a knife through the gilded air of London's most exclusive bridal boutique. Eliza Okoye had walked in with nothing but jeans, trainers, and a hopeful heart. She was not chasing labels or status, only a dress to carry her into a future of love. But in seconds, that hope was shattered. Mocking glances followed her. Whispers spread like poison. And the consultant's cold eyes made it clear, she was judged not only for her simple clothes, but for the color of her skin. Humiliated, Eliza left in silence, her dignity her only shield. But what the boutique didn't know was that her story was far from over. By the very next morning, the same doors would open again, not for a dismissed, unworthy bride, but for her fiancé, a man whose name carried power across all of London. And the words he would speak inside that boutique would leave Mayfair in stunned silence. This is not just a story about a wedding dress. It is about dignity, love, and the courage to walk away from those who cannot see your worth. Stay with us until the end. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because here on Golden Tales, every story is told to touch your heart. On a rainy morning in London, Eliza Okoye pushed open the brass door of Maison de Rêve, Mayfair. The boutique looked more like a private club than a shop. Temperature-controlled glass cases, glittering chandeliers, gowns that seemed to hang like fragments of captured moonlight. Eliza wore straight jeans, clean white trainers, and a wool cardigan. Her natural curls were tied in a low bun. In just 8 weeks she would marry the man she loved. She entered with a smile, imagining her grandmother's lace veil resting on her shoulders. A consultant approached, tall and composed. Her badge read Cassandra Doyle. Cassandra's eyes scanned Eliza head to toe, lingering just a fraction longer on her skin, on her natural hair, and on her simple clothes. The corners of her painted mouth twisted. "Good afternoon. We are, by appointment only." "I called yesterday," Eliza said gently. "The receptionist said you could squeeze me in. I'd just like to see some gowns." "Our dresses start at £10,000, Cassandra said, stretching out the figure as if testing her. "Are you sure this is your place?" The room stilled. 2 clients exchanged smirks. A saleswoman whispered, "Not our clientele," before quickly looking away. Even the doorman straightened, watching Eliza as though she were a threat. "I'd just like to see," Eliza repeated softly. Cassandra's smile was a cut of glass. "We do require a deposit up front before fittings. It prevents disappointment." Her gaze dropped to Eliza's trainers and climbed back slowly, weighing every detail. "Perhaps you'd find something more suitable on Oxford Street." The words landed like stones on old scars. Eliza nodded, whispered thanks, and walked out. In the boutique's window, her reflection stared back, a black woman, simple, dignified, head held high. In Green Park, she sat beneath a plane tree and let the drizzle disguise what weren't quite tears. The following morning, just after opening, Maison's glass front reflected a motorcade, 2 Range Rovers, a long Jaguar XJ, and a discreet black Bentley. From the Jaguar stepped a tall man, restrained, immaculate, Rowan Whitmore. A name woven into London's skyline. His security team kept a respectful distance. Assistants followed with tablets. The air shifted, the tense hush before an orchestra begins. Cassandra went pale. The owner, Madame Margot Lavoie, swept forward in silk and pearls. "Mr. Whitmore, what an unexpected honor." Rowan did not smile. "Yesterday," he said, every word heavy, "your staff humiliated my fiancée. They judged her for her clothes, and for the color of her skin. They decided she did not belong here. They made her feel small." The boutique froze. Cassandra stared at the floor. Madame Lavoie's smile faltered, then returned brittle. "A dreadful misunderstanding. We pride ourselves on excellence. Please allow us to—" "You'll apologize to her in person," Rowan cut in, calm and sharp. "And not just with words. Otherwise, Maison de Rêve will become my quiet hobby, and I assure you, no one of influence will cross this threshold again." Madame Lavoie heard the subtext. Minutes later, Eliza, still in her cardigan, but with fire in her eyes, walked back through the door. She hadn't expected to return. Now her resolve burned where hurt had been. The staff lined up. Madame Lavoie, visibly shaken, addressed her. "Ms. Okoye, please forgive us. We failed you. As a sign of reparation, we offer to design your gown free of charge, with our head couturière, and—" Eliza listened. Rowan stood by her side, not as a shield but as a presence saying, "It's your choice. I stand with you." "Thank you," Eliza said clearly. "But I won't wear a gown from people who only see value in a price tag, and who decide who belongs based on the color of their skin." She took Rowan's hand and walked out. The motorcade rolled away, leaving behind velvet, glass, and a silence that tasted of shame. Headlines, backstory, and choice. By tea-time, someone had spoken. A photo, Eliza's hand in Rowan's, appeared online, the bride who refused Mayfair. Hashtags spread. Think pieces discussed class, institutional racism, and taste. Eliza flipped her phone face down and made lentil soup. Over FaceTime, her best friend Asha teased, "Turning down a free maison de rêve? Brave." "It wouldn't feel right," Eliza said. As a children's book illustrator, she knew how to see the story beneath the surface. "I don't want to be their PR excuse. I want to choose." Few knew Rowan's background beneath the empire. A builder's son, a nurse's child, 3 buses each morning, scaffolding at 19, night school later. "Let's go see your mum this weekend," he said. "Brighton air will blow London out of us." Brighton did. They walked the lanes, shared chips on the pier. On Sunday, Eliza opened a tin trunk, her grandmother Nora's lace veil, a beaded panel, a handwritten letter, for the day when love is brave enough to be simple. Her mother placed it in her hand. "Your gran wanted you to make your own tradition. Find someone who listens." Asha knew someone who knew someone, a seamstress in the Cotswolds who worked miracles in a stone cottage smelling of rosemary. Margaret Hale, once Seville Rose head of atelier, now accepted only 2 brides a year. Eliza wrote her a letter. She didn't mention Rowan. She wrote about Nora's veil, about wanting to feel herself, not a stereotype. A week later, a note arrived. "Dear Ms. Okoye, come next Thursday at 11. Bring the lace. Bring a story. M. Hale." The cottage was a fairy tale. Low beams, a climbing rose, a ginger cat named Sir. Margaret had strong hands and a pencil behind her ear. She laid the lace as though setting a table for someone beloved. "Tell me the proposal," she said, threading a needle. "In St. Dunstan in the east," Eliza smiled. "Rain, coffees in hand." He asked anyway. "Good man," Margaret said. "Now, try this toile." The fitting was pins and imagination. Apprentice Nell scribbled notes while Sir weaved around. Eliza turned, watching herself take shape in clean, sure lines. "You don't need £10,000 to be seen," Margaret said. "You need someone who looks properly." Rowan waited in the garden with tea and paperwork, looking up whenever Eliza laughed. On the drive back, they bought strawberries and talked about vows. "No grand promises," Eliza said. "Just daily ones." Mayfair makes amends. Mayfair drafted a statement. But Madame Lavoie tore it up. It felt polished, not penitent. "Our brand is not glass and silk," she told her staff. "It is our conduct. Change or close." They partnered with Brides Reborn, restoring and donating pre-loved gowns. 1 day a week, their tailors offered alterations at cost. Cassandra was suspended, then reinstated, not at the front, but in the back, to learn to listen. A month later, Cassandra pinned the hem for a care worker bride. The bride's mother cried at the sight. The tears weren't about money. They were about being seen. That night, Cassandra wrote Eliza a letter. "I made you feel small to feel bigger. I'm sorry. I'm learning. If you ever want to see what we're doing with Brides Reborn, I'll show you. No cameras, no headlines. Just people and fabric." Eliza read it twice. Thought of that drizzle, Margaret's kitchen, Rowan's shoulders relaxing when she wore old jumpers. "Let's go," she told Asha. Quietly. The quiet visit. They went on a Wednesday, unannounced, in jeans and trainers. Cassandra met them at the side door, hair tied, tape measure around her neck. She didn't excuse. She showed them a rack of gowns waiting for new stories. They watched a bride try on her grandmother's tea-length satin. The fit felt like destiny. "Thank you for your letter," Eliza said. "I stand by my choice. But I'm glad you're doing this." "So am I," Cassandra said, no longer a mask. Madame Lavoie appeared, older, humbled. "Ms. Okoye, your refusal did what my experience could not." It held up a mirror. "We won't waste that lesson." "Then don't just apologize," Eliza said. "Practice reparation." The dress that chose her. By the third fitting, the dress had become itself. Matte silk that skimmed rather than shouted, Nora's lace appliqued in arches like St. Dunstan's ruins. No corset, no dictated silhouette, only the quiet authority of clean lines. Margaret fastened the final button. "Turn." Eliza turned. She didn't cry. She breathed, and the fabric answered. She saw herself, not a princess, not an advertisement, but a woman about to make a promise in a church that had outlived bombs and prejudice. "It's me," she whispered. "It's you," Margaret agreed. Sir meowed, sealing it. The day brought England's theatre, silver skies, drizzle, then sudden sunlight. Friends gathered in the ivy-laced ruins. Asha adjusted her veil. Rowan's mother clasped Nora's locket at Eliza's throat. No carriages, just small groups walking from the city, laughing when a busker played "Here Comes the Sun." They exchanged daily vows, to ask before assuming, to listen before fixing, to remember scaffolding and lace. At the edge, two figures lingered, Cassandra and Madame. Not intruding. Waiting. At the reception, they offered a velvet-lined shadow box, a preserved piece of Nora's lace and Margaret's sketch, framed. "We asked Ms. Hale's permission," Madame said. "The commission is donated to Brides Reborn." Eliza touched it, surprised. "Thank you. For choosing something that doesn't try to outshine what's already ours." "I'm sorry," Cassandra said again. "No longer posture, but practice." "I know," Eliza said. "Keep being." Everyday epilogue. Life shrank back to mornings. Eliza illustrated a children's book, Sir the Cat, cameoed. Rowan pushed housing retrofits. On Thursdays, Eliza ate in Postman's Park, sketching memorials to ordinary heroes who did small brave things. Maison changed. Open days without deposits, tea in mugs, a permanent rack of pre-loved gowns. Brides Reborn grew, not for photo ops, but because it nourished the soul of a place once confused about what true luxury meant. On the tube, sometimes people whispered, "You're the bride who said no." "I'm the woman who chose something else," Eliza corrected gently. On their anniversary, they returned to St. Dunstan with coffee, reread their vows, soft, for ivy and stone. Someone had left a bouquet and a note, for the woman who refused a free dress and chose herself, "Thank you." Rowan raised his glass that night. "The choosing." "The choosing," Eliza echoed, smiling. As the last rays of sunlight touched the ivy-covered walls of St. Dunstan in the east, Eliza stood hand in hand with Rowan, her simple gown shimmering with the lace of her grandmother. She had walked through humiliation, through judgment of her clothes and the color of her skin, and yet here she stood, radiant, dignified, unbroken. She had refused luxury, refused labels, refused to be defined by prejudice. And in that choice, she discovered something no boutique could ever sell, the priceless beauty of self-respect. The staff who once mocked her were forced to face their own reflection. But Eliza. She walked forward into her future, carrying only love, truth, and the courage to say no when the world tried to make her feel small. This is not just a wedding story, it is a story about dignity, about choosing yourself, and about proving that true worth shines far brighter than any diamond. Now tell us, what part of Eliza's journey moved you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing your stories. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and activate the notifications. Because here on Golden Tales, every story is crafted to touch your heart and remind you of what truly matters.